Hi, and welcome to a re-recording of today's session. Our humble apologies. We had a technical glitch with the recording of this session, and so we thought it best to re-record. And so if you notice that the background is different to what it was at 1 o'clock South African time this afternoon, then it means your energy is high and you have noticed some things in your own awareness. So welcome back, and what we'll do is just go through the general messages again. Welcome to the session on energy and leadership and how we harness that energy a little more. Already you would have been through some of the breakaway rooms, but let's go through it once again so that you have got a recording. Maybe the graph was useful, maybe some of the slides were useful as we think. And so if you remember correctly, we started with a simple greeting. And the greeting we used this afternoon was, of course, that wonderful Setswana and Isisuthu, as I've learned, greeting of the question of Legai. And Legai means, where are you? And if the response is Kiteng or Rateng, it means I am here. I am fully present. I'm ready for the conversation. Of course, when we have simple greetings, it leads us into conversation, and we are so delighted once again to be involved in conversations with all of you from Czechoslovakia and the UK and far-flung places like Gibraltar, Finland, Denmark, and of course many areas of South Africa, including even Hermanus. And so when we have these sessions on conversations, they are started by a simple greeting, but as we continue with our conversations, we are able to develop relationships. I guess we're in a world that is demanding more and more of us around how we deal with relationships and the leadership we adopt in our being in terms of those very relationships. So welcome to the session. It's an honor to have you with us. I want you to, for a moment, to think about your dream motor car. This could be non-budget related. It could be an absolute dream. Money is no object, neither is the insurance. And for a moment, just think about what is that vehicle that you see yourself in, whatever it may be, even if it's a utopian dream. I know if you are my son, that's the one you would choose. Top of the range Ferrari, and if it drives past him in the traffic, he literally snaps his head off as he watches it go past. For him, that's the ultimate vehicle, magnificently tuned, beautifully manufactured, stunning brand, great research and development, and you put your price tag on that, whether it's 3 or 5 million rand, who knows, but it's a serious car. It is designed to do the most superb things that it is designed to do. Maybe, though, you're looking for something a little casual, more cool. You're in the Cape, you're cruising Camps Bay, and you want an open top to really enjoy the scenery and the weather. That could be your vehicle of choice. If you're like me and many of others of you on this call who really want to get to the bush, you just want to go camping, you want to get reacquainted with nature, I guess maybe you might choose an SUV that'll take you to those places. And of course, if you are my 17-year-old daughter, that's the vehicle you would choose. You would want a surfmobile with a decent sound system, and it might just get you from PE to St. Francis Bay. But that's enough, and you'll have fun along the way. The point is, it really doesn't matter what that vehicle of choice is. If you wake up in the morning and you haven't checked your car the night before, you may have had a 4-year-old that has been playing in the car, fascinated by the hazard lights and the indicators and the onboard computer and the light in the roof. When you open the door, the light goes on. When you close the door, the light goes off. And the hooter, of course, the windscreen wipers with the 2 jets of water, they play, they experiment, they explore in this vehicle. And the next morning, if you haven't checked your vehicle, the battery's flat. Now, in the context of a 50,000 Rand vehicle or a 5 million Rand vehicle, the battery may only cost 1,000 Rand. It's nominal. And yet how important is the battery to the functioning of the entire vehicle? A 5 million rand motor car can be held ransom by a 1,000 rand battery. And I hope that what you find encouraging about this energy journey and the leadership we apply around our own energy is that we might not need a major overhaul. We might not need to re-engineer the entire vehicle. We may already have fantastic tires and a good steering system and a workable carburetor and a great radiator, and we've got onboard computers and good upholstery. But if our battery is flat, that vehicle is useless to us, absolutely useless. It has to have a spark in the battery, and the spark in the battery at most may cost 1,000 rand, but most often it's probably for free. And so during this webinar and during the coaching sessions, as you will go into again in your memory, some of the questions are going to be: what sparks your battery? What is it that keeps you alive? What is it that gets the vehicle of your engine turning, or the engine of your vehicle turning, I should say? Because a 1,000 rand battery can hold a 5 million rand vehicle at ransom. At Lead with Humanity, we've looked at that in human terms and said, we can have 30 years of business experience. We can have degrees and diplomas and MBAs and networks and skills and courses that we've attended. But if I wake up in the morning and my battery's flat, I don't use any of those things. Quite literally, I stay in the garage as potential. And so this is the exploration of the day. And it led us to really think about a beautiful quote by Oscar Wilde. He was an Irish playwright and poet. And he wrote this. He said, "To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people just exist. That is all." And I think he makes this wonderful distinction between living fully and just existing. Just existing is getting through the day with just enough energy to survive. Living fully means maybe I've got an abundance of energy to share. And so what I'd like to do is just share with you a very quick model that might paint a picture and allow you to ask some of your questions as you move into these breakout rooms. For sure, one of the journeys we're all on is this journey towards effectiveness. We have ups and downs. We don't always get it right. But constantly, relentlessly, every single day, we're on some kind of a journey towards effectiveness. We're trying hard to be better husbands, better mothers, better fathers, better wives, better sons, certainly better members of the community, better team players, better leaders. We're trying to be more effective as we go. We're trying to get the right things done right on a sustainable basis. But maybe, as Oscar Wilde might point out, that that's a journey of just existing. Sure, it's important, and yes, we must build our skills, and yes, we've got to keep going along this journey of effectiveness. I think what we're learning around energy, though, is the minute I've got a spark in the battery, the minute I've got some positive charge in my battery, it could mean that my vehicle takes a completely different trajectory. I could go to some extraordinary places with a bit of spark in my battery. And perhaps that journey is best described by Oscar Wilde if he says that's fully alive. We're living fully. We have a charged battery. Of course, the flip side applies. And in this world of COVID, I wonder how many of us are feeling that our batteries are drained. Certainly, how many of our employees, how many of our community members, how many of our family members are feeling a little flatter? Our batteries are feeling drained. And there's a kind of a negative charge, if there is one, in our batteries. And if that happens, we know that the trajectory of our journey from there tends to go down. It tends to spiral into a place maybe that we don't want to go to, or that we don't want to dwell in for too long. There's a beautiful movie called Shawshank Redemption with Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins. And there's a point in time where Tim Robbins' energy is falling at this penitentiary. They are held there for a life in prison for a crime they never committed. And at that point, Morgan Freeman says to him, "Son, if you ain't busy living, then you're sure busy dying." And maybe we're feeling that we might be on that journey. And I think we must make the distinction quickly that this is not up here just about our home life. And we feel fully alive at home, but we're busy dying at work. For many people, they may be fully alive at work, but busy dying at home, something missing, something that's draining their energy. So that you know that you're not alone on any one of these three journeys. Two amazing organizations, Towers Watson and Gallup, have done employee engagement surveys for many years, over thousands of people across industry, culture, company. And the numbers that they have, admittedly this is pre-COVID, state the following, that 13% are what they describe as fully engaged. They come to work with a charged battery. They're prepared to cross over silos. They are prepared to train a new recruit. They might even start a committee for which they're not paid. They may come up with great ideas in a meeting. They may try some initiative. They may phone a client out of the blue. They may stay after work for a few minutes to connect with a few of their colleagues. They're fully engaged. They arrive with a fully charged battery. Now, if 13% are the global numbers, that means if your dream motor car was an 8-cylinder vehicle, that's only one cylinder that is firing. And that's not enough energy to get you out of your own parking lot. The other numbers and the categories that they ascribe them to is that 54% are described as enrolled. Enrolled really means they're on your payroll. And they will tell you that they're on your payroll, and heaven help you if you don't pay them on the right day, but don't ask them to do anything that's not part of their KPIs. Don't ask them to join a committee. Don't ask them to come up with great ideas in a strat session. That's not their job. Their job is not to train new recruits. Their job is not to welcome customers. That's frontline. That's reception's job. Their job is not to deliver anything to anybody, because that's logistics job. Nobody speaks to sales. Sales doesn't speak to marketing, and nobody ever goes near finance. And so there's this huge level of people that are just existing or enrolled in what they do. Of course, that means, if my maths is correct, that 33%, that's 1 in every 3 employees globally, feel that they are busy dying. They are disengaged. They are functionally, or even sometimes destructively, disengaged. There's a great phrase that you might notice these people by, and it is meeting silence, but corridor violence. No one says anything in the meeting. No one raises a point, thumbs up to the boss and a nod. But in the corridors and around the water cooler and the coffee stations, there's lots of suggestions, lots of violence, and huge amounts of disengagement in general. And so I'd like you to bear that map in mind. It's a map of 3 possible destinations. And of course, at any one time, we may feel that we're fully alive, and then something brings us back to, oh God, this is mundane, I'm just existing. Or maybe even, oh no, if I hear one more thing about the presidential debates, I'm going to be busy dying. Of course, we're going to move. We're going to move between these 3 possible journeys. And I guess part of our challenge, and part of the challenge of any growth and development and the coaching we're offering at Lead with Humanity, is to help us and you get a little more up into this space here. We know we can't get 100%. No team has ever got 100% of people that are always fully engaged. There's always someone with a bad back or an issue at home or a challenge that they're facing. But if energy is an exponential, which we truly believe it is, then imagine if we could just move this dial a little higher. We could get to 20% or 25%, or in some extraordinary communities, they may even have 30 or 40% of people that are fully engaged in what they do. And that exponential might lead them to some incredible places. And so think about that as to what gives you energy. What are some of the things which charge your battery? And of course, what are the things that may be also draining your battery in the process? The last thing perhaps we share before the breakout rooms is that energy is also virally infectious. And so if there are two things you take out of the content today, the first one is that my energy is crucial to my performance. When my energy is high, I tend to perform better. I've got a better chance of playing good golf. I cook better for people that I love. I track better when I notice the small claw prints in the sand. And I only notice those small claw prints when my energy is high. When my energy is low, of course, it slumps. I have the same level of skills, but I drive the car differently. Some days I drive it well, my energy is good. Some days I drive it badly, my energy is low. And so that's premise number one. Premise two is that my energy is virally infectious. And so in some simple mathematics, we have what we call energy adders, people that you just pick up the phone to and you're keen to chat to them, and they add energy for whatever reason. They provide a little bit of a boost to your own jumper cables. But on the flip side, we also have what we might call energy subtractors. Just don't want to pick up the phone. I don't want to phone that client. I don't want to have that family around for dinner again, whatever. Now, they're not bad people or good people. It's just that there's something missing in the energy, something that's missing in the spark or the relationship. It doesn't make us good or bad. It just means somebody adds and someone subtracts. In a linear world, that's absolutely fine. But in an exponential world, we may also have people that not just add to our energy, they multiply. And for us at Lead with Humanity, that's an example of a leader. Somebody with big ears, somebody who's giving a lot of themselves, compassion and hope and support and encouragement and feedback, but listening intently. And they seem to be able to multiply your energy by their ability to just give you space and to listen. Of course, we also in our organizations have energy dividers, people that sometimes don't necessarily just subtract, but actually divide, cause polarities, cause friction, cause splits in certain groups. And again, it's not because we are good or bad. It's simply what is the level of the energy between us. And crucially, to your breakout rooms, please think about not just what other people look like to me, but perhaps what is the face that I bring? What is the face that I bring to work in the morning? Or what is the face I bring when I get back home? Do I come back home because I'm frustrated and angry with the client and I end up shouting at my daughter, and that happens? Or am I trying to play a little bit more energy adding? If I spend 20 minutes putting with my son at the putting green in the evening. And so, two things to think about in your breakout rooms. Firstly, how is your energy? And what is lifting it? And what is draining it? What's charging your battery and what's draining your battery? And secondly, what's the nature of my relationships? Who is adding energy into my life right now? And who am I subtracting energy from, maybe? Because these are great awarenesses to go further. What we'll talk about after the breakout rooms is that perhaps there are three key sources of our energy. Where do we go to recharge? The first one is this enigma called balance. And this is a personal journey. What gives you more balance in your life might not give me more balance. For some, it's yoga. For others, it's rugby. For some, it's walking their dogs. For some, it's reading a book. For some, it's meditating. For others, it's swimming in cold water. For some, it's golf. And for others, it's climbing trees or mountains. Balance is just crucial. Only that if I'm in balance a little more, my energy's got a better chance. But if I'm out of balance, my energy becomes hard work. And that could be physically, emotionally, mentally, relationship-wise, or even spiritually. And so that's a personal journey. And afterwards, there'll be some tools given to you that you will be able to use that will maybe help you along the journey to find more balance. The second one we've spoken about, where do I go to for my own energy? And it's to my authentic relationships. It's the people who I know I can trust. It's the people I know who will give me good feedback, even though it might be tough to hear. It's the people who've got my best interests at their heart. It's the people who have my back. It's the people, like many of you, who we've shared some extraordinary Kairos moments with in the past, and hopefully will do again in the future. The third key area of my own energy is something I belong to. Do I belong to something, a school, a community, a family, a company, even a country, that I feel has worthy purpose? And if so, what's the state of my energy likely to be? And so enjoy your breakout rooms, enjoy the tools. I hope you do get this recording. It was a spectacular experience to share the afternoon with you. Apologies for the technical glitch. You will receive that link with the tools in it. And until then, again, stay safe, keep connected, and lead with humanity.